Kernan's through, he might go for it, still going, trying to barge his way through, goes to the shot, what a goal!
Arriving, Rian O'Neill from an almost impossible angle, and that's the rousing score Armagh were looking for.
Conor Turbin kicks this one in, oh that's absolutely superb.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Sideline Eye podcast. We're just after witnessing Armagh's devastating defeat to Donegal in the Ulster final by penalties once again. I caught up with Kernan after the game and he gave us his thoughts and feelings after the full-time whistle. So we'll hear from Aaron now, and just before we wrap up, congratulations to the Armagh Camogues who lifted the Ulster Intermediate title on Saturday with an impressive victory over Antrim. And we'll be back on Thursday's show. We'll have Blahin Mackin on as Armagh ladies prepare for their own Ulster final against Donegal next Sunday. Blahin talks us through her injury comeback, missing out on the league, how she thinks Armagh will fare in the championship, and looking ahead to coming back and all things Australia as well. So make sure to tune into that on Thursday. So we'll hear from Aaron now, and he tells us all about Armagh's Ulster final defeat. Another devastating Ulster final penalty shootout defeat for Armagh. Just the immediate afterwards, we're looking out of the sea, a green and yellow here. Donegal obviously just after lifting the cup. Just your immediate thoughts after the game, obviously heartbreaking stuff for Armagh.
Just you're devastated. To be honest with you, we've been in this position before. We've lost out in penalty shootouts, but I don't know why that just. Well, maybe it's because it's just after happening, but it just feels cruel. The body language of the players and management, like obviously it's been devastating for them in all those defeats, your Galway, Monaghan, Derry, etc. It just feels like there's so many setbacks you can take, you know, and it's just the manner, it's the bloody penalties again, like it's just so hard to accept, and particularly for so much of that game, how well we played, like particularly whenever we went 15-11 up. I couldn't say it's been beaten at all, being honest with you. I thought we were winning so many individual battles all across the field. I thought we looked like we were troubling them everywhere. They just couldn't seem like they had the solutions to stop us. And whether it was, you know, maybe a bit of fatigue starting to come into it, or whether Donegal really, you know, upped it to hit Neil O'Donnell, hit a couple of super scores in front of us here in the stand, seemed to give them a serious lead to life. I mean, 4 points out then, there was only 2. I say they nearly couldn't believe their luck, and yeah, just the energy levels that everyone had expended throughout the day. It was, you were never going to be able to really pull away then in extra time. It was going to be, once the 2 level at the end of normal time, you knew the next 20 minutes was just going to be a slog, and it was going to come down to the kick of a ball. And unfortunately, we just couldn't seem like that score that we worked against down. You could see them trying to do it, you could see them trying to get it set up. To be fair to Donegal now, they were forewarned. They've seen this happening before. They clogged up the central channels and picked up every runner that come off the wing. But even just from we have a good vantage point where we are here at the top of the stand, we couldn't get the key people in the right areas to make those arc runs off the wing, and we end up, we come back out again a few times and you lose a bit of momentum, and it just becomes a stalemate where, if you think back to the down one, granted we had to come back out again, but whenever we went in with a foot pass and then the pace off the wing. Donegal had plugged up the centre, that foot pass wasn't there, and they were picking up every runner coming off the wing, like I said, so nobody wanted to be the person to force that shot or to force that turnover, and ultimately we just never got that one effort that they were trying to scrape out to get the win. That it's you really don't know what to say at this stage. Like, it is just, you're just sick talking about times like this, and it's the longer it drags on. It's not that the more baggage it becomes to them, boys. They just want to win Ulster champions because they're good enough to be Ulster champions, and they're doing everything that they possibly can to be Ulster champions. It's just, you've never seen this happening to somebody before, to a team before, you know. So I don't know. I don't know myself. We're at the minute.
You said it at the start, like it's so much worse than last year. It feels like at the time, just as we're talking, it feels so much worse. Obviously, what happened last year and Monaghan and everything, but Clonus last year, it was nearly, you were happy to be in an Ulster final. It was great. They played well. It was penalties, whatever else. But this year, it's just so deflating.
I was asked a couple of times during the weekend, what's the buzz like and all that, and it was really quiet. But I think the closer it got to the game, there was a quiet confidence. And even today, just the Raven here, I had a feeling it was going to be 1 or 2 points. Now, I knew it was going to be a draw at the end of normal time, but I knew we were going to get a chance to win it. Like I said, that ultimately didn't happen. But we're saying this now, everything's fresh, everything's raw. Those players need to go away and blow off some steam for 2 days. Do what everyone do. Everyone leave them out by themselves. Let them go away, enjoy their own company. Don't think about football. Just get lost in doing whatever they want to do and try to enjoy whatever they can for 2 days, and then let them come back and regroup. But mentally is the issue here. Like, it's not ability, it'll not be tactics for them, it'll not be that we're not good enough. It's just psychologically what damage this has done for them, because for so many of these players, they have given a whole career now, and this is what they're working towards. And this wasn't the end goal for them. They didn't want to just win an Ulster title and leave it at that, but winning an Ulster title would have been absolutely massive for them. And that's the bit that I just find hard to accept, because you're just gutted for them, because they couldn't have done a whole while more, to be honest with you. It's tough on them, and it will. That's the bit that I would just worry about, that it'll take a while to get over this, and then the bloody group that we're after ending up in, they couldn't have thought about it, or fair management they would have known who they had, but you have to try and avoid that sort of talk. But we all knew as supporters and spectators that, Jesus, there's one group you want to be in and not, and ultimately we've ended up in one that you would rather you avoided, but we'll have to start dealing with that in 2 weeks' time.
Well, it's the exact same as last year, only we're going to Celtic Park instead of Armagh, which is tougher, obviously. But just on that, I'll quickly touch on that, because last year Armagh didn't perform well against Westmeath after the defeat against Derry in the Ulster final. As we're saying, this is probably worse than that, and you're having to take on Westmeath now in a couple of weeks' time, who arguably should have beat Armagh last year. So, it's going to take a lot for Armagh and for Kieran McGeeney and the players to pick themselves up in 2 weeks' time.
And it's the whole euphoria of today. It's the build-up. Again, if I'm putting a player's head on, it's the build-up to this. It's the build-up in the 2 weeks leading up to it. But it's the day. It's the excitement. I'll give you the Crossmaglen one. Crossmaglen was a sea of orange this morning. There was people going everywhere from early on. I remember what that was like as a player. I used to love that. You'd be leaving, you'd be heading to the West End around Monaghan, and everywhere you went, you seen bus full of Armagh supporters, carloads of Armagh families, all going because they wanted to see you playing, they wanted to see you performing. So that's massive. And then you can call it the All-Ireland series or the qualifiers or whatever it is, but it's not the same. If you're just leaving your own house, you're heading down to Black Banks, and you're not meeting really anyone. You know, and you're going into Armagh, and there's no guard escort, and there's no big crowd around you. You're sitting duck for Westmeath. Now, I think last year we were a wee bit harsh on Armagh. We probably expected them to beat Westmeath easy, and that didn't happen. But now, if there's a flatness, I don't really care. Just get the 2 points. Just get the win. Whatever way they have to get the win, just get the win. And then try and give themselves that bit of a breather or that bit of a lift again to get ready for the 2 massive games then that are coming, because Derry are the big winners out of this for me. They're sitting now 6 weeks with a point to prove, fresh, hungry, and ready to go. We're mentally where they were 6 weeks ago. So it is advantage them. Galway, after a season of up and down all over the place, they seem like they're hitting a bit of form, but thankfully it's Westmeath first. Blew off a few cobwebs, and then there's nothing for it. Bar go again. The cruelty of losing another Ulster final, of it being in penalties, somehow the management and players will just have to try and park that and get on when everyone was saying last week, this season starts now. Jeez, if you're standing here today, it's a sad reality at the moment, but that's the joys of sport. And the way the calendar is now, you have another shot to go again. It's just going to be harder. Absolutely, it's going to be harder.
I know I was just after the full time whistle nearly one of the boys said, well, you know, you are so close to your time, and some lads going with the easy side of John last year with Antrim, Calvin down, the regional final with Fermanagh and down this year. Next year you could be having to go to Derry, you could be having to go to Donegal. Football doesn't work like that, sport doesn't work like that. Like it's not guaranteed that Armagh will be back here again next year, the year after, and suddenly Aidan Falker, Rory Gugan, Stephen Campbell, they're a year older. Like that's what's making this so hard. I think that it was such a big opportunity because you did get here straight away 12 months after losing it.
That's the bit that's getting me. It's the faces of those people. Like Aidan looked disorientated. You know, he didn't know where he was coming off the field there, and Father Time waits on no man. And why does it have to be next year? We thought it was this year, we thought it was last year. Those boys thought and dreamt and envisaged it all. So yeah, that's just you're explaining. I could see it, and he literally looked disorientated. He didn't know where he was. He looked shell shocked, and he wasn't his own. They were all the same. But sure, how would you not be? That is the problem with this defeat, is that they had done enough again to win, and it didn't come off. And it's particularly those old, well, you can't say really it's those older boys, but it's time knocks on for you whenever you get to that stage. You want to pick up anything you can get at that stage. But see the younger boys who think, oh, well, we're getting closer, it'll come. I don't even know what age I was, but I might have only been 25 or 26, and I won my last. Yeah. No, I'm very, very bloody grateful that I even won that. But you think, we were in at that stage, we were in 4 and 5 years and won the 4 of them. I never even got near a final again after that there, and I played for another 6 or 7. So you're right, like there's no guarantees that anything comes back after this, and that's the cruel part for those players. That's the bit that you feel for them. There's nothing you can do for them. There's absolutely nothing you can say. Hard luck. He's looking down at me and he's just made eye contact with me. What do you say? Like, you know, there's nothing you can say that's going to make the pain of this go away, and this is the bit that I hated about playing. It ruins your life, and I know it is only sport, but you couldn't tell them boys otherwise. For me, some of these defeats used to hang on for months, like that your season was over. They can't, maybe it's a good thing that they can't let it hang over them for months. They just have to get up and go again. But days like this, I walked out and I was like, I wish I never played football. Like, I wish I never got involved in sport. You do come from that, but it's bloody hard to come from it. So it is what it is today.
I suppose, before I let you go on, the two we've discussed Armagh's group, obviously Donegal go on, they play Tyrone, I think, in the first round, and Cork and Clare in the following rounds. Where do you see these two ending up now? Obviously it depends how Armagh react today, and they're in the tougher group, so it's obviously a more difficult challenge for them, but hoping for maybe an odd day out in Croke Park down the line, top the group maybe, and get through to the quarterfinals. How do you see both counties ending up in the coming weeks and months?
Somehow everybody's will pick themselves up. Donegal will be in the quarter-final. I see them getting to the quarter-final. Jimmy will want to top that group. His big game will obviously be the Tyrone one again, in terms of, I think they'll be tactically smart and comfortable for Cork and for Clare. The big one will come down to Tyrone. He'll want to top it. He'll want to avoid the preliminary quarter-final. For ourselves, the fact that you're going away to Celtic Park, the fact that you're meeting Galway in a neutral venue who have something to prove against you again last year because of the situation we put them into, that's the mind game side of things, that we're a wee bit on the back foot in that regard. But ultimately, I do fully believe we come out of our group. Unfortunately, it may be through a preliminary quarter-final, and it's really what shape are we in come that quarter-final. Have we picked up injuries? Have we picked up a suspension? Or have we all hit us back into form again, and are we on a roll? Geezer is always really good going through the qualifiers, building that momentum, parking that loss and building that momentum. He has been brilliant at that, from his Kildare days to his Armagh days. So I'll give it the half, or the glass half full, and say, yeah, that's the way we'll go. We'll build form and we'll build that momentum, and ultimately we will get back to an All-Ireland quarter-final. Who we get, what we're hanging in there by the time we get there, I don't know, but I think definitely both teams will be in Croke Park at the end of June for the All-Ireland quarter-final series. Absolutely.
Brilliant, Aaron. Thank you.
Cheers, Sean.
Kernan's through, he might go for it, still going, trying to barge his way through, goes to the shot, what a goal!
Arriving Rian O'Neill from an almost impossible angle, and that's the rousing score Armagh were looking for.
Conor Turbin kicks this one in. Oh, that's absolutely superb.